you have a choice to make. Am I going to let my excuses run my life, or my excuses to run my day? Or am I going to say, you know what? I'm drawing a line in the sand, and I'm not going to base my decisions on emotions. I'm not going to dictate what I do or do not do in my day based on emotions. I'm going to do it based on discipline. Welcome into the Fire and Iron Show. I am Reggie, and I am so glad that you decided to join us today. Um, this whole journey is going to be fun. We've got another power-packed episode. I'm excited to share this with you because it kind of goes against everything that I've kind of stood for a very, very long time. And it didn't, in all honesty, if I could just be just 100%, just bear with you right now, I have struggled with this. I have not truly understood this until recently. And this could be a game changer for you because it has been for me. Today, we're going to talk about how motivation is for losers. What you need is discipline. And I, again, I just want to thank you for joining in. This is our second episode. If you haven't checked us out on all the socials, check out Fire Iron Show, fireironshow.com. That's our website. On all the socials, so the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the things, Fire Iron Show. If you haven't checked out our Patreon either. So what we do, this is the kind of the high level, we're going to give you some very, very practical things, but we dig deeper in Patreon. We have exclusive content there, exclusive interviews. We've got worksheets there. We've got, follow through things, book reviews, all these different things on Patreon. So go over to Patreon, patreon.com, look up Fire Iron Show. We're right there for $5 a month. You could join the crowd and get that exclusive content, because this one today, what we're talking about, how motivation is for losers. You don't need more motivation. And we're going to dive deeper into it on the Patreon. So make sure you check it out. I have always been Mr. Motivation. I've been the hype man. If you know me from the past, I played all the sports in high school, played football in college, and I was the hype man. I was the guy that after the coaches, we had warm-ups, pregame, all that stuff. Then you go back in the locker room. The coach gives their pregame speech right there. Everybody's fired up. And then the coaches leave. And there's usually about a 2 or 3 minute window typically before the team leaves the locker room. I was the guy that was the hype man before that. So before we would walk out on the field, I was talking. Practices, after practices, the hype, everything else. I was that guy. I was the Mr. Motivation. I've been to Tony Robbins conferences before. And you know what's crazy? It was absolutely, I could remember it to this day. This was probably a good 13 years ago, 12 or 13 years ago. Went there, and I was so fired up. I was so motivated and thinking about all the things I'm going to do and everything else. But when I got back to reality, to real life, away from the conference setting and the hype and the videos and walking on fire and all those things that you do at these Tony Robbins conferences, I didn't have a plan, and I fell flat on my face. And it just goes to show that motivation is emotion based. And guess what? It goes away as quickly as it comes. And it's absolutely, looking back on it now, I can clearly understand it. I can see it plain as day. And no wonder I have not, achieved what I've set out to do or set up multiple goals. David Goggins says it's great. He goes, and I love David Goggins. If you haven't checked him out, definitely go. I mean, goodness gracious, he's all over YouTube. He's all over everywhere. Motivation is crap because motivation comes and goes. You need to rely. If you rely on motivation, you are going to be in trouble because there's going to be days when you don't feel like it. When you don't feel like, going on a run or doing the things that you need to do, and your actions cannot follow your feelings. They absolutely cannot follow your feelings. It's easy to get excited when you're making goals. Have you guys ever done that before? I have 100 times. You get excited about the process of making goals, of dreaming about what life will be like, about dreaming around what will be, and making spreadsheets and making accountability charts and doing all these things. And what happens? What happens 2 weeks in? What happens 1 month in? Something comes up. Life hits you. You get busy, with personal. You get busy with, work. You get distracted. And those goals, those motivations, everything else, that emotion is completely gone. So the thing you need to ask yourself is, why do those motivations fail? Is because you lacked discipline in them. You lacked accountability. So it is necessary. It is absolutely vital to have discipline in your life. Jocko Willett, if you probably have heard of him, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably at least heard of the name. If you haven't, go check him out too. He wrote a book called Discipline Equals Freedom. And he says, you don't need motivation. You don't need hacks. You need discipline. Listen, I get it. I'm after, motivation too. The pump me up. I'm after those hacks, growth hacks, how to do this, how to do that. I'm starting this podcast from scratch. All these social accounts from scratch. What is a hack? What is a growth hack? What is this? What is that? It's not going to come from that. I need discipline in this podcast. I need discipline to grow this brand because motivation is fleeting. Discipline is reliable. He also says this. He says, don't expect to be motivated every day to get out there and make things happen. You won't be. You need to count on discipline. Discipline it's just like everything else. It's a muscle. It is something that you have to build. You have to train. Nobody comes out of the womb and they are rock solid, disciplined, making the right decisions all the time, doing all the things. Discipline is showing up whether you feel like it or not. And that is right there. That is the main difference between discipline and motivation. Because motivation only shows up when it wants to. It will only show up when it feels like it. And that is the difference between you achieving your goals and getting to where you want to be, having the relationships that you have, being in the financial spot that you want to be in, whatever it may be. If you're on a sports team, making the team or not making the team, being a starter and being a part-time player, all of that. Discipline is the difference because emotion will come and go. Discipline is saying, this is what I'm doing, period. I don't care how I feel. I don't care if I feel like it or not. I don't care about that. I am showing up. I am going to do what I know I need to do to make this happen. the cool part about it is this, is that through discipline, habits are formed, routines are established. You start to get in a routine where now your discipline is a habit. If you're tired, here's the mind. Okay, let me back up a second. Here's the mindset that you've got to have. If I'm tired, I do the workout anyways. I'm feeling off today and I want to slouch off at work and it doesn't really matter anyways. No, I'm going to make my calls anyway. I'm going to show up at work. You know, I'd rather at night scroll on my phone. It's an easier. I had a rough day. I just need to veg out. I need to just shut my brain off. No, put the phone down and pick up a book. Read anyways. I'm just not seeing the results. I think I'm going to quit. All these things that I'm talking about, being tired, feeling off today. I'd rather scroll on my phone. I'm not seeing the results. All emotion based thought process, all emotions. That is all it is. And then on this other side, I'm gonna do the workout anyways. I'm gonna make the calls anyway. I'm going to read this book anyway. I'm gonna stay disciplined and trust the process, even though I'm not seeing the results. Those are all discipline based of what you need to do, how you need to shift your mind and think about it that way. It Again in that book, Discipline Equals Freedom. Discipline is your best friend. It will take care of you like nothing else can. And this is the part you just need to be honest with yourself, right? You just need to be real with yourself and just think about this, okay? This is a powerful, powerful thing. Tony Robbins gets into this a lot too. The power of visualization, not only of the good, but also of the bad. But I want you to think about this. If you had more discipline in your life, if you were more disciplined than you are right now, is your life going to be better or would it be worse than it is right now? And just be honest with yourself, right? And we've talked about it before about the pillars of your life. Think about if you had discipline in your life, would your relationship with your spouse or your girlfriend, your significant other, whatever it may be, would that be stronger or weaker? Would you be better? Would it be better or would it be worse? How about the relationship with your kids? If you're more disciplined and not emotion based and caught up in your feelings, but you knew the end result of what you wanted to do, and you said, I'm tired, I worked a full day, but my kids need me anyways. Are you showing up and being disciplined and being the dad and the man that you need to be in their lives to show them the example? Is your relationship with your kids going to be better or is it going to be worse by you being more disciplined? How about work? If you're more disciplined at work, is it going to be better or worse? Are you going to be rewarded more or, less? How about finances? If we're more disciplined in our finances, instead of just, it's been a long day, I'm going to hop on Amazon or I'm going to buy myself this because I deserve this. And maybe you do. And rightfully so. You deserve to, you worked hard. You deserve to enjoy life and to enjoy some different things. But make sure it's not emotion based, it's discipline based. How about spiritually? Where would you be spiritually if you were more disciplined? To connect, I don't care if it's God, I don't care, whatever you want to believe in. I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but connecting to a higher power, connecting to something greater than ourselves. Are you going to have a better quality of life because you can appreciate what we've been given here? In my instance, I believe God, I believe in Jesus. Like if I have this gratefulness of what he's given me and what he's allowed me to do and the different things and being able to do this podcast and have this here and be able to share and connect with people and just coming from a an area of gratefulness and discipline and all that. Am I going to be better or worse? I'm going to be better. My mindset is going to be better. As men, I feel we must be more disciplined. We've got to be more mentally tough with ourselves. 100%. I believe that through and through. This week, I want you to be honest with yourself. I want you to pick one thing to change. I want you to commit on one thing. Again, just like last episode, not 19 things to change, not 13, not 4, one thing. I want you to have one thing for the next 7 days. I want you to commit to it. I don't care if you're tired. I don't care if you don't feel like it. I don't care if you think you ran out of time. We all have 24 hours in a day. I have the same 24 hours that you have. And I'm not saying I'm Mr. Discipline, Mr. Perfect over here, because I'm definitely not, okay? I'm talking to myself just as much as I'm talking to you guys right now. But you have a choice to make. Am I going to let my excuses run my life, or my excuses to run my day, or am I going to say, you know what? I'm drawing a line in the sand. And I'm not going to base my decisions on emotions. I'm not going to dictate what I do or do not do in my day based on emotions. I'm going to do it based on discipline because I sat down with myself and I committed to myself. I committed to my family. I committed to my kids. I committed to my work. I committed to my body. I committed to my God. I committed to whatever it is. I committed to that and I am going to follow through with it. I don't care if it's 11 o'clock at night and I said I was going to work out. I don't care if I'm tired and I said I was going to read. Then read anyways. But if I'm going to fall asleep and I'm not going to remember it, read anyways. Do it anyways. Be disciplined. Discipline is the root of all good qualities. The more you have, the more you achieve. Discipline equals freedom. I'll link that book, for you to go get that. So check out the show notes, whether you're on, Spotify, whether you're on Apple Podcasts, whether you're on YouTube or wherever you're watching this on. Discipline equals freedom. Great book. Definitely go check it out. And share this. Share this with friends, with family members, coworkers, whoever it may be. Again, we're looking to grow, and I appreciate you not only taking the time and listening to this, but also, paying it forward. Somebody needs to hear this message, and I appreciate you sharing it with them. Um, Patreon, okay? This one is going to be really cool because understanding motivation versus discipline, that's only part of the equation. The other part of the equation, because once you do become disciplined, you are going to get hit face first with something. And you've got to learn how to deal with it. And that is pain. Discipline isn't just about consistency. It's about dealing with pain because you're not going to get rid of it. You are not going to get rid of pain. And so I'm going to dive into that on Patreon. So go over there, Patreon, look up Fire Iron Show. Make sure you like us on all the socials or, whatever your favorite platform is. I'm sure we're on there. And just shoot me a message. What is one thing that you can commit to this week, the next 7 days? Shoot me a message, on the socials, or shoot me an email. Email's in the show notes, and let me know. Because until you decide to do something, nothing is going to change. Don't base it on emotion. Base it on discipline. Thank you again for joining me, for listening to this Fire and Iron Show. we are here. We will show up every week, and we're going to keep putting out incredible content like this. So stay tuned for the next one, and I appreciate you joining us.